Guys, good morning. Good morning. Not sure if you see me well on the camera here, but it's about 6:30 a.m. and there you go. On my morning walk, on my weighted vest, 50 pounds. Let me get this thing here. So at this time, I usually go for my walk, and it's Monday, and yesterday it snowed, but today, an official snow day. You could say official snowfall. Yeah, you could say it's about 3 inches, 4 inches of snow, but everything's perfect. You know, the only thing that you should worry about is if you woke up and if you're breathing. Everything else is always up to God, and when you have that mentality, even the way you wake up, if it's, you know, in some pain or aches or whatever it is, you realize that it's perfect because it's supposed to be that way. You don't see it with your logical mind, but when you look backwards, you always understand why things happen, and God has a funny way of working. So if you're in pain right now, or, you know, waking up with an ache, you know, obviously there's steps you can take to mitigate that, but realize that it's perfect and it's part of your plan and way to grow. So it's usually the walk I take in the morning. It's very dark. I didn't even wasn't prepared for the snowfall, so you can see shoes. The boots are in the garage. When I was moving, I put a lot of stuff over there, and I'm gonna take it out later in the day. But it's funny because I used to really hate snow, and now that I've found this perspective and peace and just different way of viewing things and really learning how to live, you have an appreciation for it. And yeah, it's really nice. I mean, nature has a lot of beautiful things about it. It has all the answers you need. And even in winter, even though it's, you know, shorter days and cold and less sun, there's still sun, but obviously it's not as potent as the summer. You still learn a lot about different aspects, and it's more a season for recovery than growth. There's a wellness coach I saw on YouTube. I'm gonna post her channel. I'm not associated with her at all, to be honest, but she definitely changed the way I view winter now. And even me being Hispanic background, like I mentioned, being from Argentina, my dad's side, and Ecuador, my mom's side, you know, the sun is very prominent over there. And for me being a darker complexion, I need 3 times more sun than most people. And it's really understanding that you have to be outside when the sun is out. Even though it's cloudy and you don't see the sun per se, there's still some sun that peeks through. And, you know, to get the amount of sun that you need would take probably a few hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours, even up to 8, compared to sun you get in the summer and the UV you get. But, you know, there's secrets that lie in that, you know, being able to, it's funny how God works, because somebody wants you to be enjoying and being outside more in the winter. You have to be in the summer, but like I said, it's that coach will give you, that wellness coach will give you more understanding, because you give me understanding more of especially melatonin and how that works. That has to be basically focused on more, or look for more, or grown more in the winter, because obviously it gets dark at 5 p.m. and people, what they do is they turn on lights, and you know, all these artificial lights, and until they go to bed, which is usually like 11, 12. So if you turn on red light instead and actually are in unison with the darkness outside, it's actually what helps you sleep better. And then melatonin shares the same receptors as vitamin D, so you actually get a lot of the various benefits when you grow your melatonin and allow it to grow in those periods after 5 p.m. when it gets dark. So you'll be able to see her video. She has a full explanation on it. I want to speak a bit about it because first snowfall and people, start to spike up on the vitamin D pills and try to avoid seasonal depression. But like I said, it's all really learning how to live. That's the way in the winter, in the summer, in the fall, during a hurricane, during a tornado, whatever it is, it's learning how to live. And that's, applies to all scenarios and all circumstances. So that's why when you wake up and, you're giving breath, you're given a day, pray and be thankful. If it's to the universe, if it's to God, if it's to whatever that you believe, gave you that chance, do it. And it's going to build that appreciation and gratitude within you. And that's what carries you to the day and builds this perspective. Because this was step by step. Like I said, I used to wake up and just think I was owed the day and wouldn't thank anybody and would just be looking for the next thing, which was woman at the time. But now I look for God and the message he gives me. So I'm gonna do a little morning walk. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, guys, we are back. As I was saying, the winter and how to embrace it instead of escaping it. No matter what your pigmentation, as you see, I'm darker pigmentation. I'm not sure if you see in the camera, but no matter what it is, let's put the stand on here. Yeah, what pigmentation you are, it's embracing and learning how to live in the winter. But I was speaking about on my Instagram story. You guys can go follow up with the Instagram below. But I realized the thing with lust and why people get consumed by it and whatever vice they're in is because of the spirit being in lack. It's not you being in lack externally or you thinking you're missing something of this world. It's your spirit is in lack because when you were born, you had your spirit. You didn't have, the ego. You don't have thinking. You don't have fears. When you were a baby, you look at kids around or, toddlers, probably under the age of 5 until they start getting programmed by their parents and don't do this and don't do that and, this is not the way and no, that's impossible and all the limitations they put on them for their mind to form these stories. But you look at those kids, they are in spirit. They don't think, they don't stress, they don't doubt, they don't worry. They simply explore their spirit and understand and follow that map without hesitation, without doubt, without fear, without, second guessing. But what happens as we get older, every adult, is simply stories that they chose to believe or were forced to believe or accepted as real by their environment, by people around them, usually their parents and their family. And we start to see is that, especially for me as I speak about this, when your spirit is in lack, it will call the flesh and the devil and the ego will convince you that it's something outside of yourself that you're missing. So you start to get consumed in vices and lust and whatever it is, parties, trying to get this feeling from outside yourself. But what you actually have to begin to do is remove and let the spirit call out to what it's missing and try things that before maybe when you were a kid you liked to do. Try that thing again. If it's coloring, if it's knitting, I'm not sure what you can do. Kids do nowadays. Obviously they have their tablets now and their phones when they're like 5 years old. But whatever you're experimenting with as a kid, you can remember, and your parents can tell you, your family can tell you, that is what your spirit calls to. Crazy that, yeah, 100% true. But I'm teaching myself right now. But things that were in the past are signs of what you're here to do. Because like I said, when you were little, you tried without, looking for something from it or looking for a result. Things you do now as adults, you always look for a result from it. Usually monetary, Could be for status or whatever it is. So I'm not going to try this because, you know, it's not going to look cool, or I'm not going to do this because, you know, what's the point? It doesn't give me money. Or you do things for something external, but when you do that, you live again for the flesh and ignore the spirit and put it to the side. But it has the map. Your spirit is your guide. So what I'm saying is, begin to explore the things you did as a kid. Obviously, you know, there's, you know, you could put logical reason to it. You're not going to start coloring with crayons and stuff like that, but you understand what I mean. There's connections to what you did when you were born up to a certain age, and they can remember and conscious about, and can be told about, and you can start to experiment that, and you'll start to see that you have something for that. You have a gift for that, or you have a passion, or it gives you energy. Everything you do has to give you energy. You're not going to do something externally for someone else or for the world, and then you look, and then after you do it within, you feel lack, you feel like shit, and you feel bad. That's not the way to do things. I thought that was the way for the longest time. I was, you know, with lust and women, and then chasing money for a bit and doing things for money. You know, various businesses. Tried like doing e-com and, you know, reselling tickets online, OnlyFans management, marketing agencies. I was doing all these businesses just for a result of, oh, I need to make this much per month, and it wasn't aligned with what I'm doing or who I was. And the same will go with, you know, whatever it is in your life. It's removing the things that don't give you energy and replacing it with the things in the past that your soul and your spirit knew gave you energy, so it guided you towards. Like I said, the kid has the map, but as he gets older, with his environments and people around him trying to program him, or, you know, just basically reflecting back who they are and their limitations, they put on the kid. And, you know, the kid, well, I'm not sure if you heard this saying before, but this was told to me: a child is a perfect creation of God, and an adult is a perfect creation of the devil. Because of those fears and those, you know, stories they create and the lacks and limitations, that is the devil within you. But a kid does not have that. A kid does not think, or, well, I can't do this. Someone else will tell him externally, but he will never tell himself that, because he's living spiritually. So that is why kids are pure. You look at a newborn baby and you're like, yeah, you can have the worst day, or, you know, be down or something happens, but you look at a kid like, this is crazy, this is spirit. This is something you can't be mad at, and, you know, it's the most pure thing in the world, because it's a spirit. It's a spiritual being, and it's, you know, the purest form of what we were brought here to do, being spiritual and living in a physical experience. But, you know, the world tells you it's backwards, that you're physical, living a spiritual experience, and once in a while be able to live spiritually, but the rest of the time chase this and chase that, and, you know, it's not about feeling good, but looking good externally. And if you don't have the money or the cars or the girls, then you're losing, and all this propaganda and bullshit that's really fed to you, but you believe it because, you know, you think, what else could be the map? But you have it all along. And like I said, it's given to you, but the most courageous thing you can do is access that again and be that kid. Finding that inner child is really the map, and I see the way to a life of fulfillment and a life where you meet your creator and don't just get lost in promises and fake feelings of this world. It's all fake. No matter how many women you sleep with, threesomes you have, you know, group things, no matter how many women you share, sex clubs, I've done all those things. It's not going to bring you the eternal, and it's not going to bring your spirit back, or that feeling you think, or the fulfillment, or that joy within and that peace within. So crazy, but the message only come from above, guys. I'm simply a vessel. I simply just open myself up to, you know, giving the message, and even as I speak, I learn from my own things I say. So as crazy as it sounds, or much you don't believe it, it's not me. It's God working through me, through my spirit, and giving me the message to speak to you guys and give it to you. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this walk, enjoy a bit of the snow, and then we'll touch base again soon. All right, guys, we are back. Right now we're driving. There we go. Fire truck here. But we are on our way to the gym. A little bit behind, but it's perfect. We were uploading the vlog from a few days ago, and also, you know, reflecting and reading bit of scripture Romans and connecting with it, and it's really my favorite part of the day, to be honest. And so we're gonna go to the gym now, arriving now literally, and I want to introduce you to someone. I'm not sure if she'll let me film her, but she's someone that works at the gym, and I believe she operates spiritually. She's just, no fear. She just says what's on her mind. Good energy. We connected a lot over the Blue Jays. I had a big run in Toronto for the baseball, World Series. They made the finals and then they lost Game 7, but it's all good. But yeah, connected with her well, and Italian, so connected with her about Italy as well. She's from Calabria, I believe. But yeah, we'll see if she lets me connect. Pulling up now to a place, and then yeah, we'll go from there. All right, guys, we are here. My best friend's in Toronto, my opinion, but let's see how it goes with filming. She's actually filming, but we go here in the background as I enter. But yeah, actually speaking with somebody right now. There's the gym. I'm gonna go back to the change room. Good morning. We'll catch her on the way out. She won't be on the video, but she'll watch it after. And right now I'm doing chest and biceps, and then I do back and triceps. So I want to do the same secondary body part just to give it a rest. But yeah, I'll do this quickly, and then we'll touch base again. You'll be able to see it on my Instagram. I post videos, stuff like that there. The last video you saw me training, so I explain a lot there. Guys, out of the gym, on the way back to the place. Snowfall's crazy. I saw a bit of the drop set I do for biceps, and drop set and muscles that aren't growing, super key. So definitely something to do. But here's the car, and yeah, let's go. All right, what is going on, guys? A little bit out of breath, but essentially I wanted to record what I like to do sometimes when I finish the gym and want to get another quick pump before I shower. I mentioned in my other video, I like believing in earning my first meal and first shower. So, I sweat a bit at the gym already, but somebody just told me my conscience to start doing some burpees. So that's what I like to do. I do probably like 25. And sometimes I do like 10 up and 10 down, meaning you just do 10 push-ups, burpee, 9, go all the way down to 1, and then up to 10. So right now I feel more 25, just single, so burpees, so that's what I do. It's about 10:40 right now, and yeah, I just get energy from that. So I'll show you guys a bit of it, and yeah. Want to add one more thing. This has been key in terms of getting recovery back as you get older. Obviously, I just hit 30 a few months ago, so your body needs different, at least it's natural things. Glutamine helps with recovery and also helps the digestive system. So it just helps to give you the amino acids you need to basically recover. And yeah, this is very key, especially for the gym. If you're training 6 days a week like I do 3 days on, 1 day off. It's pivotal that you have that, and maybe be taking NAD plus. So will be an update on that. My brother is gonna help me with that, Mike, and yeah, it's gonna be levels to that. So we'll see where it goes. But basically, I just do two scoops every day, and then I put in my water, and I also do magnesium. So I do magnesium after I eat, just because I feel like it sits better. So I just have these. I pop open the pill because I don't like these capsules. I just pop it open and then put it in the water, and then you're good to go. So magnesium, very key supplement, and glutamine as well. So what's up here on my second walk during the day. Like I mentioned before, with winter, important to get out and get that sun, even though, let's see, it is not showing the most or most visible, but it's also just for, you know, your well-being as well. You feel better when you're outside. Like I said, the sun is the most important thing, and even oxygen. Walking as well is important. 10,000 steps and getting that. But having my call later with my brother again, so every few days we have it now, and truly blessed to have that, say that treatment by him, because, you know, being his first student, I was able to get the VIP that he offers, and yeah, it's crazy. So I'll actually be recording that call. I'll put little snippets in there. Yeah, you guys will be able to see. But really, it's, you know, the habits, small habits that grow you. And, you know, walking is a big one for me, especially as of recently. And in the winter, I guess I'm trying to get out as much as possible. So even if I'm not getting that much sun, it's still something. And because I'm not taking vitamin D pills, I have to do it the natural way. I prefer to do it the natural way. I don't have to, but I prefer it just for myself. So yeah, after this, I'm gonna try and make some food. I'll show you guys how that goes. But this is a short walk. I usually do like the park that I have near my place. You guys will see it coming up. So I was gonna do basically a walk around the block, and then also have basketball later, I believe. So we'll see if it goes through. But I have a friend that books a court, usually Mondays, sometimes Fridays, I believe. So, you know, basketball is something I like to do. Soccer, unfortunately, or football, is something that gets me an ego. I'm on a team right now, and looking to remove my place from there, just because, yeah, obviously competition, you have to, you know, compete to a point, but for me, I just get very lost in stories and ego, and, you know, making an identity around what I'm doing. So the important thing is not making an identity around what you do. You are yourself, and everything else is separate from you. So, you know, if your name is Andrew, you're watching this, you're Andrew, and then when you play something, you know, you're playing that thing, but you don't become that thing. You know, it's really important to remove, or try to remove, ego from things you do. So for me, football, unfortunately, is not there yet. Maybe in the future we'll see, but just removing is always the way to see. So remove when you see that issue happening, and then in some future, when you're ready and have grown and remove the stories, you can start doing it. All right, guys, so we caught some sun. I'm not sure if you see it. It's a little weird. Sometimes just stand and look at it. Just because, you know, like the dogs you see. But when I have more time, right now, didn't mention, I work from home. So I'm working for a Forex broker for the past 4 years. And I've been there since 2021, a little after COVID. Basically, that was my first job. I was working at somewhere else during COVID, and then obviously all the layoffs and stuff like that happened. But instead of getting another job right away. I used those benefits I got from the government and went out. So that's when I was lost in lust, and that's why I know how far off you can get in terms of your responsibilities. So like, it's crazy. I had no job, and instead of looking for a way to support myself, I used that money, paid rent, and what was left used to go out and try to get girls. So crazy how it is. But anyways, yeah. So I getting back now. Unlock this. But essentially, yes, I've been with them for a bit, and I only go to the office once a week, luckily. But during the winter, they sometimes change it to once a month, so we'll see if that changes. But yeah, grateful they've been able to give me, support me this whole time in terms of my lifestyle and stuff like that. And yeah, I was able to not look back, really sustain myself and do things that I wouldn't be able to do without them. So it's a sales job, and this is commission plus obviously salaries. But yeah, so I'm a little, I make calls, so I make like 100 calls a day with that. So yeah, gonna get back to it. I'll have my call after, then I'll make my meal. So I'm probably gonna fast from like till 2 p.m. But it's perfect. And yeah, extra fasting is always good. Builds autophagy. Autophagy actually kicks in only after 17 hours, 18 hours. But you're just not digesting, so your body's able to do other things. One thing as well that I want to just show, because I think it's important, especially with your fruits and vegetables, to remove the pesticides and stuff like that they add, especially in Canada, US. Europe may not have this problem, but if you're living in Canada, US, in the Western countries, definitely a problem. So you have your vegetables. For me, it's carrots right now, and you put a bit of baking soda with water. So the baking soda is going to remove those pesticides. I would say leave it in there for like 10 minutes. That's what I usually do. The fruits as well. There's some that are outside of, it's called a dirty dozen. Dirty dozen, you definitely have to do this, and always buy organic. But if it's not in the dirty dozen, you can buy it just regular, and you don't have to do this essentially, or it's your choice. But there's always some residue, stuff like that. But it's always eating as clean as possible, because your food is also frequency, and if you're eating shit food, especially fast food, that just lowers your frequency automatically. So the food you have to eat make it as pure as possible, because back in the day, especially in Jesus' time, the food was never as processed or handled as the way it is now. And it does affect even the slightest the way you're operating, stuff like that. So the better, the more organic you can get your food and more clean, the better for you and how you operate. So very, very key. And I've been doing this just because of also my psoriasis, but just in general for the past, I would say like 7-8 years, has been a huge difference.
For speaking, and I got wisdom, like even when we die, if it's our last day, the last moment, even that's perfect, right? Because it's perfect. Like, it cannot be because we don't want it, it's not perfect. No, life is perfect. So like, we cannot stop time. We can just, only thing we can do is align. And that's like, till we die. And if we die, it's perfect, Yeah. If we keep up like this, we're going to see Jesus, and we're going to go to heaven. Like, it's perfect. I'm really good at being me. I'm the vessel. It's not me. It's Jesus, It's Holy Spirit.
Said the better you are at being you, the better you are at being a vessel. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Crazy wisdom. Because being you is being in spirit. So the more you're better at being you, is the better you are at being a vessel. That's crazy. All right, guys, crazy call. I'm gonna put what I can with. Well, you guys will see it in terms of the call and the bits and the wisdom. But feeling really, really good right now. Going to have my first meal after my meeting. So usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays I have meetings for work, usually around the afternoon afternoon time. But I have my carrots here I talked about, so I'm waiting for those. I'm gonna make some fish. I just did a Costco run, so you see, a lot of stuff going on here, and then even here. So yeah, it's about 2:30. My last meal was at 6:30. Yeah, 2:34. So my last meal was at 6:30 yesterday p.m. So going on, almost 19 hours fasted. But making some fish here. I have some more fish over here. And then steaming my carrots. So I steam my vegetables now. It's a big hack that I've seen. Just makes it faster. And I enjoy it more. It softens the vegetable. If you're doing like squash, carrots, stuff like that. Don't do zucchini. I did zucchini the other day. It does not work. And I'm sure you guys peeped the thermos here. Got that in Argentina when I went for the World Cup. I was there in 2022 and watched the World Cup. My dad's from Argentina, and I've always grown up watching football. And I was able to get those stickers when I went back the other time to visit an ex-girlfriend. So it's a different story entirely. But all right, guys, what's going on here for another walk? You could say I'm trying to get some sun, but it's just the last bit of sun as the sun is setting. So as you may or may not know, the sun sets around 5 p.m. in the winter. And I thought I could catch a bit of it before it sets, but I guess not. My conscience told me to come out anyways because I was getting a bit of itis. I had my meal pretty late, like 3 p.m. Showed you guys was carrots, some fish, and I had some blueberries. So we're like 1,800 calories. And I'll have another one before basketball. But I want to get a quick walk, some steps in. I'll be getting most of my steps obviously done at basketball, but just to remove that itis, because obviously if you walk, the glucose from the muscles, the glucose from the food gets put into the muscles faster. So that's required as you're walking. So it's a good way to speed up your digestion and remove that itis and actually use the food that you ate. But so I'll have to, during the winter, be finding ways to walk in between the sun rising like 7:30, and then when it's just high enough that I can get most of it, which is like before 3 p.m. So we'll see. But I'm, like I said, truly blessed I get to work from home. The people that work in offices, I'm not sure how they do it. It's crazy. You go into the office, most people will not wake up. They wake up like an hour before they go to the office, so they don't get to get sun before, and then they go until 5 p.m. and then the sun is gone. So you're basically in darkness. So that's how you really get depression and stuff like that. So if you're in the office, find ways. Maybe go for a longer break during lunch. Try to find that way to get enough, sun and stuff like that. It's very important. But here in the park, as you walk through, it's a school here, and there's actually some basketball courts and stuff like that. So, for the summertime, it's very, very, very clutch. But we'll do a very short walk, and then I'll show you guys actually the protocol for winter. So what I do after the sun sets, and using infrared lights and stuff like that, and blue light blockers and all that stuff to really boost the melatonin, and that's what's going to get you through the winter, and use the receptors, the same ones that vitamin D uses, and increase your melatonin, as opposed to juicing up on vitamin D pills, which is actually not the way, and will long term, you're not meant to be consuming supplements long term. So always as natural as possible, as God intended. And the best way to look at it is, would Jesus take vitamin D supplements? And I don't think so. I don't believe he would. So it's natural, everything's in nature, and following the circadian rhythm it gives you is the key to feeling better. And I realize it's always going against the curve is going to be your best bet. If someone goes left, go to the right. If the masses is going left, go right, full speed. Because what the masses do is controlled by people higher up that we don't see. It's a whole different video, but it's a big loophole. And I do believe that, you know, there's bigger things at play than we believe, and a lot of people in society are simply just puppets orchestrating or being orchestrated, or, you know, given the script and what to do, and they simply just, you know, play it out. So I could say it's one big show, but, you know, like I said, different topic for a different day. But yeah, very short walk. Crazy, but yeah, gonna get my steps in basketball and get some footage for that. Crazy. And then yeah, we're gonna go back, and then when the sun's down, show you guys the protocol, and then you guys can, you know, at least get something. If you guys get something from the video, it's that protocol, because it's going to change things, and your melatonin will begin to increase. You'll sleep better, you'll recover better, especially if you're in the gym, as you should be, at least, I would say, as a man, 4 times a week. Women, maybe 2, but yeah, men 4 times at least. You know, you can do every body part at least once, heavy, you know, till failure, and boost our testosterone and everything else. All the benefits of physical exercise are crazy. So anyways, we'll talk soon, and let's go. So like I said, we are all right, guys. So like I said, sunset basically, and we are now in the, you know, melatonin mode. So I have the blue light blockers, I have the red light. You get this from Amazon. But essentially turning off artificial lights and, you know, having blue blockers, essentially promoting melatonin is going to help you during the winter. So this is what I do. I'm going to do this every day, of course, or else you're going to have no life. But the times where you're, you know, home and can situate yourself, make sure to do this, because it's going to help you not only with your sleep, but also with your recovery, and you also get like antioxidant properties. Basically, you're able to incorporate some of the vitamin D, you know, benefits you get, which is a hormone, by promoting melatonin. So it's very crazy. And I'm gonna put the video, I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I'm gonna put the coach that, you know, introduced me to this, and there's a recent study done on this basically like 3 years ago. So it's very, very recent, and something that many people don't know, and they just basically go the vitamin D pills, you know, supplements, and then, you know, trying to escape with, you know, sun, and then they come back and then get depressed, and, you know, the whole loop of that. But essentially what you do is very basic, you know, infrared light, turn off your lights at home, and then you have blue light blockers as well. You can still continue to work, you know, I still have a computer and stuff like that. I'm gonna do some work here too, but yeah, it's the best way to do it. Just gonna show you guys a bit of what I'm cooking here. I'm gonna use a light from the phone. Crazy. But cooking some carrots, and then just made a bit of fish. So as you can see, also it's 7 right now. So I have basketball in 2 hours. I'm gonna eat this quickly and eat my macros for the day, and a little over on protein, which is perfect, so 235, and then the fats and carbs, you know, with the carrots. And then I also use beef tallow. So this is if you guys are looking for healthy fats, I think Costco actually discontinued this, but you're able to get beef tallow for pretty cheap before. So guys, so last meal of the night, it's fish, carrots, and then that white stuff on top you see is some more tallow. What's up here at the place? It's a little like underground basketball courts, some volleyball courts too. Let's see who's down to be filmed. But show you guys who's recording here. Alright guys, so got to basketball. I have a friend here, TJ, back from Mexico.
Guys. Came back to the amazing weather outside. I'm so grateful.
Where'd you go to Mexico again?
I went to Playa del Carmen.
You been there before?
Yeah.
Yeah? Stop it. But yeah, TJ, we met, playing pickup, no?
Yeah. We met through some mutual friends.
Mutual friend, and he's a real guy.
Here we are, man. He's a good guy, man.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of b-ball here. It's like a underground court in Etobicoke. Oh my God, you guys see that over here? But yeah, we'll put some highlight reels, put TJ Duncan and everybody, you know. And yeah, you guys will see. But yeah, and enjoy. It's about till 11 o'clock we have the place, and then yeah, we're gonna go from there. So, highlight reels coming up. Alright guys, that is a wrap. Finished some ball, crazy fun, crazy energy, and really got to do things that fill your spirit, and you don't get an ego over or competitive or compete or compare. You know, it's, you do it because it gives you energy. You don't get anything from it, you don't want anything from it. It's just the act of doing it, and that's what your spirit really wants. So crazy day. Gonna end it here. You guys stay to the end of the video. Much love, appreciate you guys. Like and comment what you got from the video, if you want to see more of something else, or whatever it is. But as always, until next time, keep killing it.